as I said, this evening, you are at the importance of inclusion during transition to adulthood, a parent's perspective. I'm Alyssa DeFilippo with Parents Helping Parents Connections, California. We are a statewide online resource and information hub for transition to adulthood and transition services. And this evening, we welcome back to the Connections California screen our own Mouna Raad. Mouna has been with Parents Helping Parents for quite a while now, I think over 20 years. Serving parents and professionals alike. And most recently, she's serving as PHP's Family Empowerment Center and Mental Health Program Manager. But this evening, she's here tonight as a fellow parent to share one of her passions, which is inclusion. So I'm turning it over to you. Thank you, Mouna. And here we go.
Thank you so much, Alyssa, for the introduction. Yes, it's one of my passions, as Alyssa said, and I wanted to welcome you. I wanted to acknowledge that you could be anywhere, but you've chosen to give us an hour of your time. So thank you for doing that. We have a large group tonight. What I love about the signups is that we have professionals and we have parents as well. What I'm doing. Okay. What I'm doing today is taking you on a journey and inviting you to join me on this journey. It's a gentle and a slow journey that went a long way, but it's mostly meandering through a personal experience, raising 4 amazingly special adults. They were children, they are all adults now. The person I'm focusing on is my youngest, and she's my youngest child, and I'm focusing on aspects about including her. She's now 25. I'm focusing on including her in all aspects of her life, but more specifically during the ages she was becoming a young adult. It's a journey that looks at reflects upon the power of and the importance of belonging. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about how it's going to be and why I did this. I was inspired by a psychologist who did an independent review of my child when she was in high school, and she wrote an amazing report. It was like 50-some pages. But then throughout the report, she had descriptions of my Ellie, and then some of these descriptions would end with this sentence: "It was a beautiful moment." And throughout the report, there were 4 or 5 beautiful moments. When I went back and read the report, I realized that every beautiful moment was actually a moment where Ellie was engaged, successful in a regular education setting. So I realized that I wasn't the only one that saw the beauty in this success, and it just made me focus even more on these beautiful moments. So today, for each story, and some of it is pictures, some of it is videos, for each story, I want to tell you a little bit about how much planning and work was involved, sometimes very little, sometimes very elaborate. What did we learn? Me, others, parents, siblings, the community, and then what is ahead to explore? What doors were opened because of this experience, or what doors were closed? And we just thought, okay, no, thank you, it's not going to work. And that's the format for each of these stories. I can't, Alyssa said I'm a Family Empowerment Center person, so I cannot go without really referring to the reauthorization of IDEA. IDEA stands for Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. In 2015, this is the statement that I found in the reauthorization, and I'm not going to read it, but what it emphasizes really is that an important aspect of education for a student with disabilities is really how to function within the community. So IEP goals should be addressing integration into real world environments in which they will function as adults. And these goals include recreation, community, and vocational environments. Skills that will facilitate your child or your student's acceptance, such as social communication skills, should be incorporated into their educational goals. So this is a parenthesis that really matters. And I want you to, I mean, obviously, if this type of programming begins during the school years, successful integration as an adult is much easier to achieve. And I don't know where your students are or your children are, but I wanted to give you a little heads up of what the law, how the law looks at this. So this story is about my childhood. I was a little girl, and we spent every summer in a little village, and you see an aerial view of this village on the right in the Alay region in Lebanon. I'm from Lebanon, and that's where we went every summer. We lived somewhere else during the year and then went to Lebanon. Lots of games, lots of fun stuff, lots of kids visiting each other all day long, very few rules. And it was amazing. I had forgotten about this story when my child was diagnosed. When Ellie was diagnosed with cerebral palsy at about 2 or 2.5 years, I had forgotten about it, but it came back to me. It resurfaced from my memory when I was looking inside of me and saying, how am I going to be strong enough? What am I going to do? What do I have inside of me that will help me? And I knew my journey was going to be difficult. But it helped me back then. That story helped me, but it helped me on my current journey as well. So I showed you the aerial view, and I wanted you to know my sister and I would go from the green arrow up the street to the left and then left again and go to a little house that has a basin with fish in it. And over there were 2 other girls. And we played with them. And their names were Mimo and Ziza. They are diminutive, right? Mimo was for Marie, but we played with them. And one day when we went to play with them, their mom had planned for us, and it was like a miracle. She had planned for us to make tabbouleh with these girls. And it was incredible for us because you give kids something to do, but you don't give them parsley and tomatoes and onions and olive oil and to make tabbouleh. But she helped us, and we cut and we mixed and we sat in a tent on their balcony and we ate tabbouleh. And it was a lovely time. We were about to leave, and I remember that before we left, the younger sister looks up at her mom and she says, Mom, you gave us all these things and you helped us make tabbouleh because we played with Mimo, right? And the mom stopped and she took a little time to answer, but I'll never forget that. She said, yes, I want you to play with Mimo. And Mimo was different. Mimo probably had cerebral palsy. I'm in touch with them and I haven't asked a question, but she was different. And I remember looking up at this mom and seeing the pain and seeing how important it was for her daughter to be included. And I was 6 or 7, but I wanted you to know that after that, I read about Martin Luther King. I read about Gandhi. I read when I was 10 or 11, and they resonated with me partly because I had had this experience about someone that was different. And that helped shape my childhood. Next story is about, so yeah, I'm going to go to the next story. The next story is about is summer of 2009. My Ellie is on the left, and we had spent countless sessions of occupational therapy trying to teach Ellie how to wear her headband. And you see her wearing a headband, but we had tried a lot, right? And it was one of the tasks. And then we arrived to our hometown. It's my husband's hometown here. And we visit the cousins, and one of them is older than Ellie. She's up in the blue scarf, and one is younger. And when I arrive, I tell the older cousin, I say, Joanne, Ellie is learning how to put her headband on. Could you help her? And they disappeared. They come back about 30 minutes later and they say, what else? What else should we play? For them, it was play. And I said, what do you mean? And Joanne orders Ellie. She says, put your headband on. And Ellie put her headband. She had taught her how to do it. And then her younger cousin put it also with a twist. You can see how she had it on her forehead. And then I'm not sure what they were doing with the scarves, but it was a beautiful afternoon. What I learned is the importance of play and the importance of modeling by others. It was a lot more powerful than doing the clinical sessions in OT. Of course, the occupational therapist had done all the steps and maybe we were ready to just see it happen, but it just happened like that. And I'll never forget, I remember to go to our hometown, we had to skip extended school year, we had to leave and not get the services, but what we received in return is a lot of summer performances, a lot of laughs from these girls and a lot of theater. So this one is Ellie in middle school. I want to tell you a little bit about the context. I had spent a year, almost a year, to make sure Ellie was able to attend middle school orchestra with an aide. So she joined relatively late, but she was able to go to the band and practice. We had many IEPs, we had correspondence with my district, we had designing a plan, and I was really tired of the effort and I was letting go. I'm just like, whatever, whether she attends or not, I'm not going to worry about it. One night, it was in December, I was scheduled to work at PHP. We used to do special ed basics on Thursday nights, and I was doing special ed basics 6 to 9. So before leaving to go to work, I told my husband, I said, hey, why don't you tell her to take Ellie to this concert that's happening at her school? I found out about it by chance, and I know that the band she's playing with is going to be performing. She will enjoy that. Take her to it. And when I came back that evening, the house was quiet, everybody was asleep, but my husband was still awake. And he told me this. He said, why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, what? And I couldn't remember what I may have forgotten, right? What are you talking about? I wasn't sure. So let me show you. Let me show.
That's Ellie. Yeah, Ellie.
So, see, I wanted to show you. She's in a pink jacket because the teacher didn't tell me she was participating. Nobody expected that she would be part of Thank You for the Hearts. And yet, when they arrived, Mr. A, the director, ran to Naji and said, hurry, hurry, I have the ramp. Let's bring her up. And she went up. Needless to say, the next day we went and bought her the uniform for for participating. And the sad part was that her own teacher didn't believe. She found it funny. She's like, really? She was in the performance? I'm like, yes. Again, I didn't say it, but why didn't you tell me? So what did I learn? What did we learn? Presume competence, always presume competence, encourage others to do well, to do the same and presume competence. The only one who saw competence in Ellie was her music teacher and the other students. You know what happened after that? The next year, she received the Director's Award for Music as she was graduating from middle school. And then several of her IEP goals were developed around music. For example, learning to identify and name a musical instrument after listening to a short musical piece, let alone going to Disneyland with the band. So, and the best part was the bus, of course, but we went and performed in Disneyland just because. So another story for you, and this one is we're in Rome, 2014. Because we live in Lebanon, it's a natural place for us to land in Europe, right? But this time we had taken a tour with regular people. We just said, okay, we're going to come with you to Rome. She had just started high school, but she was attending several classes. One of them was art in regular ed. And this is the Vatican. We was visiting the Vatican. I didn't know at the time that my daughter had something pretty serious called cerebral visual impairment. And you see that ball in the middle. Let me go back. I mean, we were in the museum and I opened the door and she just rushed out and she stopped in front of this, the globe. And she was mesmerized, but she loved it as well. Again, in the Vatican, on the right, she insisted, and Ellie has very few words. She insisted on me taking a picture of her. And you see on the right how she's holding the balustrade behind her. And only when I came home, I looked at the picture again and I realized, look at the arms of the statues behind and look at her arms. She is integrating into the sculptures, into the art, and she loved that experience. Okay. What did we learn then? We learned again about her interest in lighting, her interest in how art draws her in, about her sensory preferences, because some museums are very busy and some are calmer, and we noticed that, and her appreciation for space, having a lot of space around her and being able to see around her was very important for her. It was a lovely trip. I'm trying to move to the next slide. So the next one is a long story. It wasn't a long story. It was just an afternoon, but I wanted to tell you that I found out again by chance about a mandatory event happening for all choir classes in the district that Ellie was attending. And it was all students of music go and participate in a day at San Jose State University. And it was mandatory, right? I found out on Friday, and on Friday, I sent an email to her teacher asking about participation in the performance. So they practice all day with singers coming from all over, and then they have a performance. And I get an email on the 29th. I have it up here just for me to remember also, saying this is not an appropriate performance for Ellie to participate in. And then I replied again, same day. I said, do you want to participate, Ellie? I asked Ellie because sometimes I feel like maybe she doesn't want to. And Ellie says yes. And then another email comes and says, the performance brings, then I had looked, and again, it's, I just told you, it's every participant, whatever their level, it gives them a chance to perform. And we went back and forth, but on that same day, on Tuesday, at 2:52 p.m., I get a letter from the principal saying, Ellie is signed up to go. At this time, Ellie is signed up to go. I really think it was a typo. I really think she wanted to say not signed up to go, because later some emails started pouring, but I stopped answering them. What I wrote is, if she signed up to go, let's work on the details so we make sure that Ellie is ready to enjoy the day. I will be dropping Ellie at San Jose State University tomorrow by 8, whatever, I forget whenever they were supposed to be there. And that's what I did. That's what I did. She had a fantastic time. She loved every bit of it. And I mean, I can give you more details, but I want to tell you what did I learn? What did I learn from this? That Ellie belongs, and that I have to let go of my fear. I am worried, right? I'm worried about her not doing the things that are expected of her. But with the right planning, with the right support, I should stop being scared. And that's what I did. I trusted that Ellie wants to be included so much that it's upon me and her educator team to make it happen. She didn't give us a choice. And that typo allowed my daughter to be in there. This is another musical event, and there is a lot around music, and it's Ellie who guides us, right? What I want to tell you about the story is same director, same team, same high school, same performance, and another performance is happening in the spring. So here we are, we're running to the performance area. She wasn't wearing the same black dress as the other girls. I had begged for it, like, where do you buy it? How can I? No, but we found a top, we found something black. It was okay. That wasn't a big deal. And as we arrive, people open the door to let us into the performance, but I see all the kids go on the left of the performance. And I'm like, wait a minute, let's go see what's happening over there. I want to show you what was happening over there.
Part 2, part 3, and one more. Here we go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti.
So you see at the end when he goes do re mi fa, so she knows the movements, she's participating. The best part is when she entered on the side, all the girls were like, Ellie, you're here, and you know how young people go, and they were hugging her, and she was so excited to be there. And then there was the performance. So it's not always inclusion, and whatever we do is not always the event itself, but preparing it is so exciting. And that's what I learned. It's like you're including, let's include in every aspect. Raise your voice. That's another musical one. I have them, see, you can tell I really care. For this one, what I wanted to tell you is I started filming it, but I didn't see Ellie. And I thought, listen, it'll be on her phone. She can see her friends, okay? And it's okay if she's not in that performance. And it was the end of the year. By now, I need you to know I was doing nothing. I was just sending her to school, expecting her to go participate. And I was informed about the performances, and I was doing nothing except go to the performance. But I started filming and nothing was, I mean, Ellie wasn't there, but the musicians are beautiful. And we still see some of these people here and there. So I'm going to go to the end of it so you can see where she shows up.
First rule of singing, get the records
Okay. So at the end of this performance, what happens is she shows up in the end and she's doing the moves. This is another story. It was during COVID and we went to Baja Fresh, and Ellie had been attended her post-secondary program at West Valley College. This is where it was happening. And I knew that she was eating at the cafeteria, but I didn't have too many details about what was happening there. We go, her and I, to Baja Fresh. We're still during COVID, we're still working from home, studying at home, but we order our food. And as we are about to sit, I noticed that there is a couple of friends from our church who are sitting and eating Taco Tuesdays, right, at Baja Fresh. And we soon join them. And I'm sitting, Ellie is facing the door. I don't see who's coming in. And halfway through our meal, we have this person who comes in and again welcomes Ellie and says, Ellie, oh my God, I haven't seen you in so I missed you. And an adorable young woman who chats with Ellie. And then we ask her, we say, how do you know her? She's like, oh, we hang out at West Valley. I love eating lunch with Ellie. She always brings a smile to me. And then she shares about how hard things have been for her, and how Ellie was a good friend and was listening to her and was empathetic. And I remember looking at the couple from church. They were also shocked because they've seen Ellie at church and she does what she does. But this was another Ellie they were seeing. They were seeing a new, another facet of her life. And what I realized is community means a variety of places, and people will know you better. The world becomes smaller, and you become closer to others when you're able to see them in a variety of settings, especially, of course, our kids with disabilities and our young people with disabilities. This is another story, and I couldn't resist putting it because it's a museum and it is Fly with Mimo. Remember Mimo, the girl from the beginning? This is a museum where I understood even more how the cerebral visual impairment affects Ellie and how important it is for her environment to accommodate for her. And I realized museums are a perfect place because museums are usually spacious, and that one in particular, it's a minerals museum, has dark green walls, which was perfect for Ellie, and a few lit places, and we spent at least 2 hours there. MIMO stands for, it was an incredible experience. MIMO stands for Mimodactylus libanensis. It's a fossil of a pterodactyl that was found from 95 million years ago, and it was discovered intact in Lebanon. And it was part of this museum, and they had various activities where you can fly with Mimo. Even in her wheelchair, she could sit and in front of the screen and make Mimo fly through the valleys. And so again, it was such a pleasant experience, and it made me remember again the overarching aim of IDEA to help our students live, work, and play in their communities. And to help Ellie become an art appreciator was such an enriching experience. I have a couple more stories for you. And this one I added recently because Ellie made me understand the value and the importance of spirituality. So I wanted you to know that the picture on the left is St. Christopher in San Jose. Our church comes from Millbrae once a month, the last Saturday of the month, and there is a celebration, a mass that happens at 6 p.m. at St. Christopher. and Ellie adores going there. The interesting part is that the mass is in Syriac, and the chanting is in another. And I just can't believe, I mean, they're hard for us to sing, but Ellie chants and sings and recites the prayers and loves attending that event. What matters is that we arrive early. It's very important for us not to arrive in the middle of an event, and she participates. I don't go to that church just because I don't, but the other two pictures on the right are our church in Saratoga. The one in the middle, Ellie is helping decorate for the Christmas season, and she's helping put the boxes back on the truck after all the decorations have been taken out, and she loved doing that. The one on the right, on the absolute right, is what happens a lot of Thursday evenings. I'm not sure if it's happening today, but there is band practice, and Ellie goes and listens to the practice. There is a lot of value to it. We can be noisy. We can be appreciative, we can clap, not clap, we can go around, it's pretty empty. And at the same time, it's her way of participating. So you can see that what I learned here is the importance of considering spirituality as you are helping a young person become who they're going to become. I never thought it would take such an importance in my daughter's life, but it does. And my role is to assist her. Okay. So I've given you a lot of tips. I've said quite a few things, but I have another few slides talking about some ideas for you. Please consider involving your child, your youth, your student. Ask them, is that something you want to do, or what do you like? And ask them whenever you're including them or excluding them from an activity. Also consider creating a portfolio. This is an idea that I picked a long time ago from, and Alyssa knows her, Linda Sanguinetti, encouraging our students to have a variety of items that describe what they've done, where they've been, who they are. Because for some of our students, it's hard to portray themselves. Even if you don't have a disability, you forget how special you are, how amazing you are. So the portfolio helps them keep track. And it could be electronic in part, it's all fine. Become a researcher. For us to do this journey, we had to do a lot of research. We had to find things out. We had to explore. So do it, whether you're doing it online or asking people or being observant and saying, I often watch people go places, and it's kind of an obsession, like, what would Ellie do? How would she go there? How would she arrive? Where would she sit? What would she like? So becoming a researcher is also becoming a good observer. And contact PHP. We have ideas for you about where to go to look for how to open additional doors. The communication plan is always, always important, whether we're talking about your IEP team, your educators, your support staff. Consider having a way to communicate. And I'm not saying communicate over your person, include the person in the communication, but it's important that this communication be ongoing, be documented. And I like to invite you to consider person-centered thinking tools, because they really help you ground the conversation. And that's another topic altogether. But having a communication plan in place is important, because you can't do it alone and you're not going to be here forever. So put it in place. Make sure that as your child is going through transition, concerns and decisions, when you have concerns, flag them early so that you can modify and prepare for the next environment. You're learning. Everybody's learning as you go along. Your person, your child, and everyone else. Finally, I didn't know how to say it any differently. I wanted to say it's a small world, but I wanted to say it's a safer world. When your child has been around your community, has been around your world, wherever you go, it is safer for them to be there. They are recognized, they are welcomed, they are known, they are understood, and they've had enough practice, and others have had enough practice with them as well. And as scary as it is, putting them out there is a rewarding and eye-opening experience. Now, the next two slides are compliments of my friend Susan Larkin from the Inclusion Collaborative. And we have updated them this year, thanks to her. They are clickable, so later, if you want more videos, more inspiration, more stories about how inclusive high schools have developed around this area, please consider clicking on them. The second slide is highlighting some of the programs that are college programs, whether they're 2-year or 4-year programs for students with intellectual disabilities. They are growing in California, and there are a lot of options. And that's where, remember how I said research, a lot of research there. But the reality is, it's nice to see that they have all that everybody is joining. Okay, please don't forget Department of Rehabilitation and Independent Living Center, in addition to the regional center if your student or child is a regional center client. They are your allies in this effort. And then I wanted to see if you have questions.
We do have a question. Our 17-year-old son with ASD likes to sing and play guitar. He plays music, but he has a hard time participating in the group. Do you have any suggestions on how we could guide him? And Beatrice is going to be typing an answer, so if you could speak a little slowly, that would be great. Thanks.
Yes. So, first of all, congratulations about your son enjoying the music. It's something, and a guitar is nice. It's not like a huge instrument, and you can take it wherever you like. I want to encourage you to consider music with a smaller group, or maybe have him see musicians that play by themselves. It's okay to be a solo musician. It's nice to be part of a band, but it's also an option to be a solo musician. And there are various places, you'd be amazed, that will offer these opportunities for him to go watch and maybe to do a little performance at the beginning or at the end. But please continue to. It's okay if it's not in a group, right?
Thank you.
Sure.
And I don't know if the person who asked that question lives in the PHP area, but what is it, College of Adaptive Arts? Mouna
Yes.
has wonderful programs, and I have a friend there actually whose daughter goes there. We share the friend, actually. We would name any names, but we share the
Right.
friend.
Right.
And her daughter's in a band, and I think that she met her bandmates at College of Adaptive Arts. So just,
But they also have, over there, Alyssa, they also have acoustic guitar
Ah.
and it doesn't have to be the band, right?
Ah, well,
So
there you go.
adaptive guitar is nice. The other thing with College of Adaptive Arts is you can, many classes are hybrid, so you can stay home and participate. My daughter, she wants to go, she needs to be there. But if your child wants to start from a distance, that's an option as well.
Hmm.
Good.
Very nice.
Yeah. I saw in the chat how you couldn't see the video or you couldn't see it.
I know. So we had some technical difficulties, but that's life in our the 21st century. We're going to miss our audio and miss our video sometimes, but I think people still got the gist of it, and the audio was real important in that one, even though the video showed her included at the end. I remember what that video was. Do you want to go back and see if we can play it?
We can do that. We can do that.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say is at PHP, we have a resource directory, and I realized that sometimes it's hard for people to maneuver the resource directory, but we would be pleased to help you, right? If you say, okay, we're looking at music, or we can identify a variety of music opportunities with you on the resource directory. I like to do it in a Zoom or do a Google Meet and show you some options for you to explore. The resource directory is on, you just go php.com, and then on the right-hand side, there is resource directory. Use it a little bit like you would use Google, except it's going to give you specialized programs, things that you are probably looking for. And if you put music or guitar, some things are going to come up. Okay.
And then someone just asked, also Beatrice put it in the chat, they ask how music has helped your daughter to relax and if it has helped her to focus on academics.
Definitely. Of course. And she has her own music, and she decides what she likes to focus on. So it has helped her relax. It has helped her focus on academics, but Ellie needs very quiet environments to be able to focus on academics. So it's a pre and post, right? A little music before, a little music after, but during academics, it's very important that the place be absolutely quiet. And it's part of her CVI. Otherwise, she gets distracted. Good questions. Good questions. Do you want me to try and
First rule of singing, get the rafters ringing.
I want to stop this, and I'm going to take it. So here they are. I wanted to show you that they're singing, and then I'm supposed to go to minute 5. And you can watch. Talented. These young girls were so talented. I let it go all the way till the end because I wanted to show you. I mean, she's finishing with them. You know, to the parent who was asking about help relax and improve, what it helped her do is actually talk. Ellie is able to sing a lot more than she's able to talk. And it's incredible because people who drive places with her, they'll come back, they say, she knows all the songs, she knows all the words, she knows where it's going to stop. And I'm like, yes, music does that to her. Yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed the sound and I got the message. Excellent. All righty. You're muted.
I'm muted, I'm talking away. I'm saying I think we have time for this question, which is we're having some difficulty with our adult who needs to use the bathroom while dad's not available in the fitness center. Any suggestions?
On using the bathroom where?
At a fitness center when dad is not available with an
Right,
adult son, sounds like.
right, right. What an important question.
Ooh,
An important question. It's important.
tough one.
I mean,
Yeah, it's like stumped the panel.
yes,
Mm.
yes. And little did I know, but working on being able to use the bathroom independently is one of the most important things that we can work on. I would, you know, you'd be amazed. You'd be amazed. There are occupational therapists who are so good, and we were able to do it. That's why I'm saying so good at cutting the tasks and practicing every piece of it in such a way, observing the environment and changing the environment as necessary, right? So you can't change a bathroom, right? But if you know you use a paper or you don't use, where is the soap? Where is the so please try and work with an occupational therapist to help you conquer this difficulty because at the club where we go, there is a family bathroom, but I'm working very hard to make sure Ellie becomes independent with that. How old is your child, may I ask?
If you just want to type it into either the chat or the Q&A.
Mm.
And someone in the chat was saying no staff can help. I was wondering if there was any staff who could be trained to maybe help if dad wasn't available. It's 17. He can use the bathroom, but it's a challenge.
Yeah, yeah, it's very worrisome. Yeah, sometimes you're gonna need, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go there. You're going to need, you know, the bathrooming situation is pretty tricky. You can't just say staff is going to help. And it depends on how much help is needed, but also I would work occupational therapists. That's absolutely their domain. And again, when we've worked with Ellie and her occupational therapist, first thing she asks her is, do you want to learn to? And Ellie says, yes. So then, okay, I'm going to help you. We're going to be a team, and this is how it's going to go. And then we've made quite a bit of progress. OTs are amazing. The ideas she gave us were pretty helpful.
That's cool.
Okay.
All right, I think that might be,
This is
hold
it.
on. Use the bathroom, social, family bathroom's great. Yeah. Yeah, I think that might be it. Well, by the clock on the screen, it is 7:28. So I want to thank everyone for coming. I think that you would agree with me that this was a moving presentation. We had this was the last in our series of Parents' Perspective. I think folks really like these, and perhaps we'll try and bring them back again with other perspectives. But this is the second time I've seen this presentation, and it moved me as much, if not more, as the first. I want to thank you, Mouna, for being so open and honest and sharing with us. Your wisdom is appreciated probably more than you know, or maybe you do know, but we thank you.
It's
So-
been a pleasure. Thank you, Alyssa, and thank you, Beatrice, doing interpretation, and thank you to all the attendees tonight, and wish you a beautiful evening.